The deck is slick with ocean spray, engines roar against the wind, and in the dim gray of morning, 16 B-25 bombers, too large for a carrier, line up one by one, ready to leap into the unknown. April 18, 1942. USS Hornet. 80 men are about to do the impossible. Their mission is not survival, it's a message. In the wake of Pearl Harbor, America needed hope. Japan had struck with devastating force, killing thousands, sinking battleships, crippling the Pacific Fleet. The American public was reeling. The enemy felt distant, unreachable, untouchable, and that perception had to change. So they turned to James Doolittle, a fearless pilot, aeronautical engineer, and master of the skies. The plan was audacious. Modify land-based bombers to take off from an aircraft carrier, fly them over 650 miles to Japan, bomb Tokyo and other targets, then continue westward to land in unoccupied China. It had never been done. It wasn't even considered possible. They trained in secret, practicing takeoffs on short runways, flying at low altitudes, stripping the planes of anything unnecessary, guns, radios, even parachutes, just to reduce weight. Every inch of fuel mattered. Every second of airtime was a gamble. Then the call came. But the Hornet had been spotted early by a Japanese patrol boat. The mission was compromised. If they delayed, the entire task force would be at risk. So Doolittle made the call, launch immediately. Even though it meant flying hundreds of extra miles with no certainty they could make it to safety. One by one, the bombers lifted into the stormy sky. Awkwardly, heavily, risking everything. The flight decks trembled beneath their weight. Sailors watched in silence as each plane disappeared into the mist. They flew low over the ocean, silent, steady, toward the heart of the enemy. Hours later, the first American bombs fell on Tokyo. The damage was modest. Military factories, docks, oil storage tanks. But that wasn't the point. For the first time, Japanese civilians heard sirens blare over their own capital. Fires lit the skyline. Anti-aircraft guns roared in panic. The myth of invincibility shattered, and then, just like that, the raiders were gone. No plane had enough fuel to return. Most crews bailed out over Chinese countryside. Some crash-landed. A few made it to safety with help from villagers, but not all. 8 were captured by the Japanese. 3 were executed. 1 died of disease in a prison camp. Their names were hidden from the world for months. Another plane, low on fuel, diverted toward the Soviet Union. The crew was interned for over a year, navigating a different kind of uncertainty. But Doolittle, who thought the mission a failure, returned to a hero's welcome. He was promoted, decorated. The raid became legend. And the impact rippled far beyond Tokyo. Shocked and humiliated, Japan shifted its strategy, abandoning plans to strike Australia and instead focusing on Midway, hoping to destroy America's remaining carriers. But that pivot would prove fatal, because at Midway, the tide would turn. The Doolittle raid was a spark in the dark, a daring gamble that reignited American morale, a blow to Japan's confidence, a moment when a handful of brave men flew into near-certain death, not for victory but for the message it sent. We are not afraid, and we will strike back. They called it a suicide mission, but every plane that lifted off that deck carried the weight of a nation behind it. And though many didn't land safely, the mission had succeeded long before the first bomb hit its target. Because for the first time since the war began, Americans had hope. Thank you for listening to Last Post History. Subscribe for more true stories from the world at war.